So if you've followed this channel for any length of time, you know I am a huge defender of low budget to no budget horror movies, and it's pretty much what I base my channel around for the most part. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to conjure up all my defensive fucking skills for this movie. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. Okay, so I am going to do my very best to give some good points about this movie on top of all the bad ones, because there are a lot of bad ones, believe me. The movie is called Pickaxe. I don't know a ton about the history of this movie from reading some information on it on a couple of sites. I believe this might be a sequel or a prequel. I'm not exactly sure. But I'm telling you, I mean, I'm just being realistic and I'm being honest. This is not a good movie. It's really not. It has some good points to it, but all in all, it is not a good movie. And I know I'm a huge defender of low budget horror movies and sci-fi movies, but I mean, when you have, I don't know what the budget for this movie was, but just guessing by how it was shot and the practical effects and stuff, I can't see it being a huge budget. But when you have movies, and again, you probably know the ones I'm going to say, when you have movies like Cosmos, which was made on a zero budget, when you have movies like Blair Witch, the original one, made I think for what, 30,000, something like that. When you have the movie The Headhunter, which is one of my favorite movies, and is actually coming to Shudder December 5th, I believe. That was like my top movie for 2018, next to Terrified. That movie was made for $30,000. I mean, you've got Paranormal Activity, the original one, which was made on a shoestring budget. And dare I even say the original Evil Dead, which was made more or less on a shoestring budget. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I defend low budget horror movies to the bitter end because I think, you know what I mean? That's where all the new kind of creativity and you know, newer ideas are coming out. You know what I mean? But it's just, sometimes it's hard to do it. And this movie's one of them. I mean, it got off to a really good start. It takes place in 1988, and it has that look to it, which I'll give that to it. And the opening scene, the first 5 minutes of this movie, I thought, okay, here we go. This is fantastic. I mean, we start off, we've got a couple in the woods looking for an amulet of some sort. You know, so they can, I think they're looking for it so they can trade it in and get some cash for it. It's supposed to be the amulet of Alex Black, who was this mass murderer. Again, I don't know the history of this film franchise, so I think there was another movie before this one. But anyways, it starts off and I mean, there's boobs in the opening 5 minutes. There's a sex scene. I mean, we've got all the 80s. They're in the forest. You know what I mean? Like it's got that look. I mean, I don't want to say what happens, but the guy gets killed and the woman is like drinking blood from his head. And I'm thinking, okay, here we fucking go, man. This is awesome. And then for the next 2 acts of this entire movie, all they do is it's just story. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm being realistic here, okay? This is not a well-acted movie. I mean, the acting isn't terrible from like Tiffany Shepis and Alex Michael Baldwin, who you'll know from the Phantasm movies. They give great performances. Their on-screen time together is the best in this whole movie, but I mean, for the most part, the acting in this movie is not very good, okay? Well, let me just read this, okay? Because I want to give some good here as well as bad. So if you go into IMDb, and this is a movie, you know, trying to win its audience over and you know, do the best that it can to kind of draw you in. So when you go to IMDb, sex and nudity, severe. Okay, there is a ton. I think almost everybody in this movie, except for Tiffany Shepis, shows their boobs. It was almost like it was written into their contract. If they wanted to be in this movie, you have to show your breasts. If you want to see boobs, this is the movie for you. Violence and gore, severe. It is. I mean, again, as bad as this movie is, they try their very best to make it gory and have some, I guess, some pretty gruesome kills. You know, there's intestines spilling out, like I said at the beginning, you know, chopping a head off and drinking the blood out of it. Profanity, you know, there's lots of swearing, as there would be in any. Alcohol, drug, and smoking, severe, yeah, that is. And frightening and intense scenes, moderate, which I would agree with because this wasn't a very scary movie at all. But, I mean, they tried to do the best they could with what they had, you know what I mean? But it just, again, to put it up against some other movies that are along... Kyle, I'll even say that the Rene Perez movie, which I know was made for $30,000 because I talked to him. I talked to him through emails and on Messenger about his movies, his Havoc movies, which are I think, fantastic and bloody and gory. And, you know, he tells me about the struggles he's had to make those movies. I mean, carrying his own equipment, setting it up, having next to no crew. I mean, maybe that's what these guys went through too. But at the end of the day, God honestly, this movie looks like it was a high school project. It looks like an AV project, you know what I mean? Where you get a group of friends together. The school gives you, I don't know, like a $200 or $300 budget and a weekend and says, go out and make a movie as your class project. That's what, minus the boobs that were in this movie, because there was a ton of them. But I mean, that's the feel that I had with this movie. Even this Alex Black character, this he didn't look menacing. He just looked like a tall fucking guy with a bag over his head. I mean, I guess they were going for Jason Voorhees kind of a look, but I mean, I don't know. And I think this movie, I would say, is like 95% practical. Okay, and I'll give it props for that. I mean, awesome. But why in the third act would they have a couple scenes where, you know, they use CGI blood? I don't get it. There's so much blood in this movie. Why would they? And it looked like shit. Like, why would they do that? I don't get it. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. The audio in this movie, I don't care if it's a fucking zero, but the audio in this movie is fucking terrible. It's probably in my top 3 worst I've ever heard. And I have a pretty killer sound system in my studios, in my theater, in my house where I watch a lot of these movies. It was fucking terrible. I mean, I can't even describe to you how bad it was. It was like they'd be in a room together and there'd be people talking. One person would talk and there'd be no background noise, and then it would flash to the next person and there'd be background noise. Back to that person, dead silent, just her voice. And I know what they were doing is because they were, I don't know if you call it overdubbing or whatever, but she was talking over her own voice, probably because the mic audio was the shits. But it was throughout the entire fucking movie, whether they were inside, outside, in the van, in the strip club. I mean, and the concert scene was, I mean, again, low budget movie, but I mean, come on. You have to watch this movie to see what I'm talking about. Like, it was, I mean, really, it was like a grade 9 high school movie project. That's the feeling I got for this movie. Man, oh man. But it was, you know, again, I don't want to rip on it too much. It was funny in parts. I mean, they really tried hard to give it some sort of like, you know, like a comedic one-liners and stuff like that. And a lot of them did work. I found the humor in this film a lot of the times to be funny, you know what I mean? But again, it's not going to save a movie like this. Honestly, I don't even know why this movie was made. Unless it was just a bunch of friends getting together and, hey, let's make a fucking movie, you know what I mean? And if that's the case, then good on you, you know what I mean? But did I hate this movie? No. Did I like it? No. To give it a rating, I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. You guys know me. I'm dead honest with you. And I've liked movies, and you guys have commented before saying I tried it and I couldn't get through it, or what am I talking about? Like, this movie was terrible, or some movie. You know what I mean? Hey, again, my platform, my opinion. I did not like this movie. It felt very high schoolish. They tried, but I just couldn't buy into this flick. I wanted to, just couldn't do it. So as much boobs as there were in it, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much for all those boobs, but it just, I mean, you can't sell your horror movie on tits. You just can't do it. So I don't know, man. The movie's called Pickaxe. It's out now. It's on all platforms. I think it's on DVD as well. I rented it for $5.99. So again, as I say with all movies, whether I love them or I hate them, rent it. I mean, these guys, hey, as much as I didn't like it, they put the effort in to try and make the best movie they could, or at least I hope they put the fucking effort in. It just didn't pay off in my eyes, but I mean, definitely rent it and watch it and see if you guys agree with me. But there's just the audio in this movie. It's like, oh my God, it's like, I don't know who the sound editor was or the sound bite guy, but oh, dude, come on, man. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that was terrible. In fact, I'd like to have the audio guy, if he sees this, comment on my, I don't care, you can call me an asshole if you want for saying it's shit, but it is. But I want to know, like, what happened? Like, why does it sound like this? Like, it's terrible. The sound in this movie is fucking, honestly, it's in my top 3 worst I've ever fucking heard. It's just, I don't know. I want to know what the fuck happened. I'd like to know. So anyways, I don't know. I got nothing else to say about this. I mean, whatever. There's some good in this movie, but there's a lot of bad in this movie. At the end of the day, I really don't think it should have been made. Yeah, and that's my opinion. If you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't, go rent it and then get back to me and let me know. And wow, a high school project, man. That's the feeling I got, guys. So anyways, until next time, stay scared.